Hello my friends, Aiden here. Today I don't want to talk about Eve, but on something rather special I had the honor, luck and privilege to join. It was European Space Agency's, short ESA, citizens' debate on the future of European space travel. And it was held on the same day at the same time in all 22 member states, and that includes Switzerland. And in every member state, 100 citizens, chosen from application you sent in a few weeks earlier, had the opportunity to discuss with each other about the future of European Space Agency's programs, ideas, direction, or in general about how the citizens feel about the space program. And the Swiss one was held in Lucerne at the Transporten Museum there, and it started at 9 o'clock. And as a special guest, we had Claude Nicollier there, the one and only Swiss space astronaut who was really up there, worked on the Hubble mission, and he gave a little presentation about emotion and spaceflight. His presentation, like the rest of this day, was held in French and German, because we have a multilingual society here in Switzerland. And for me it was quite interesting to have an actual astronaut in the room with us. The only guy actually up there, and you could feel from his presentation, you could really feel the passion he has for space flight, and gave quite an interesting background to our day. So, how was the day organized? We 100 citizens have been divided up into groups of 7 or 8. As an addition, a moderator was seated at every table who kept the discussions in line, in form, but acted actually strict neutral. So the groups, or the 100 citizens, were made up of all areas of citizens from Europe, female, male, and from all areas of profession. We then got a questionnaire handed out, and first we read it through it, and then we turned it over, and the moderator got the discussion or the debate started. First you had to fill in, of course, your name and some smaller questions like how do you feel about spaceflight, what do you think its importance, and a lot. It was a typical questionnaire you have everywhere. The day was also divided into 5 sequences or modules in which we had the discussions and the debate. The first one in the morning, and the first sequence was about space and I. So the question ranged from how do I feel about space, do I trust ESA, how do I feel should ESA handle the future, should it be guided more towards the future of all humanity or just Europeans, or more for the private investor section. And the interesting thing was, as I at our table interpreted it, it was a consensus. Everybody agreed more or less on the same subject. It wasn't, oh no, space is shit, or you have to radically change our views on that. It was really a consensus. Sequence 2 was Europe's role in exploration and usage of space. It was a lively discussion, but I noticed the 3 ladies at our table were quite quiet. They didn't really participate. I don't know if it was shyness, lack of knowledge, or just overwhelming amount of males at the table. But it was sad. I would like to hear more from their views on this subject. We had at one point quite a long discussion about space debris, and again, the table agreed it's a problem, and the solution that we came up at our table in the debate was, as in the end, as users with navigational tools, mobile phones, etc., we should at least pay a small amount of recycling charges, and that organizations like ESA, NASA should oversight private sector corporations' ideas to clean up space, because in the end it's all our problem, because we use satellite phones, satellite dishes and everything. So it's not just, oh, leave it there, or it's their problem, it's all our problem. Sequence 3 was space politics, and again, I don't really know about, I remember all the details there. It was, I think, how should it be used, who belongs space, is it something you can sell, is it something that belongs to all humanity? And again, our table was in consensus, no, it should belong all of humanity, and resources harvesting in there should be handled with care and not just like over exploitation we do on our own planet. And it was nice to see that the table with 8 peoples on it, or 7 debatees from all areas of background, with no background, or I don't know, stuff like that, agreed on, yes, we could use it, but we should do it with caution and not just over exploitation. Then we had lunch. It was nice, a bit short but nice. After the lunch we did a Skype call to Denmark, so apparently all nations had Skype calls to other nations, and the Danes had, was interesting, they had the same concerns about space debris than we had, was interesting. Sequence 4 was scenario work, which entitled, we had to choose from 4 scenarios. We choose do a space mission till 2026. Nothing more. No, what's kind of mission, we had to all discuss it from ourselves. And after some here and there, and I suggested, why not do we now do a kind of encyclopedic history from human race. Let's say in a scenario where asteroid hits Earth in about 10-15 years, there's absolutely no way we can avoid it. And thinking, okay, we have all this accomplished and it should be gone. Maybe we should send some of the information out to the stars, that maybe in a future civilization find it and know about humans, what we did, positive and negative. And at some point one of the debatees turned and said, okay, why is doing this, it's so far away and a bit and high flying, why shouldn't we have an idea about terraforming Mars? And I just kept my word, because I'm nerd and I know a little bit about what's going on in space and space programs, so I shut my mouth and just listened. And then we went back to my original proposal, and many think a good idea, just in the lack of, we have no other idea we can use in that time. And yeah, sequence 5 in the afternoon, of course, was then the future of spaceflight. And at this point in the afternoon, we started to disagree on certain points, like the use of the ISS. Should it be discontinued or supplemented or added a new thing up there? And there people started to go different paths of this idea. Yes, it's true, because it costs money and we don't have a real benefit. Nothing we actually use that has a stamp on it, made in space or developed through a space program. So this point came up in the discussion, the debate, that ESA or all space agencies should inform more how beneficial space program work on space problem solution can be applied to Earth directly or to our everyday lives, and or in general more education on space program, space stuff than just maybe or not at all at schools. And yeah, and the afternoon discussions or debates were rather more not intensive or heated, just more debating. Everybody had his standpoints on money. Should one point in the questionnaire was, do you like to increase, lower, or keep the budget, which is only 12 euros per citizens of the member state. That's not much. It's about 4 billion the ESA has for their programs every year. That's not much compared to other agencies out there. And yes, what furthermore, yeah, it was just the questionnaires had, of course, then the usual questions like should space programs be diverted or outsourced directly to private organizations and so on. It was quite an interesting day for me, and you can see the results. ESA has a special page reserved for this event, and I will link it in the description. If you like, you can browse it. Depending of which state, you can compare Europe, or let's say Germany to Switzerland, or Finland to Portugal, and you can see how the citizens thought. And then I just flew over it a little bit, and I thought on the most topics we were not exactly in the same percentage, but in the same direction. It's not that one nations that I've or Europe and Switzerland was that we had a totally different view on things than, let's say, the rest of Europe. That was interesting. Let's see what the future holds, and if ESA listens to what the citizens of Europe said, or as I marked on my questionnaire, I'm in doubt they will, because historically never really an organization listened to the citizens they actually serve, kind. But I hope it will, and I hope it shows ESA on which directions they should embark for the future. And one of the consensus I think we all had was that we should work together, not just for ourselves or for a few, but for all of humanity. Yeah, thanks for listening, and hear you next time.